Yeah, it's going to be by committee, for sure. Ogg's, a good pass rusher for the most part. Mel's a little bit more rounded in the OLB position, the ability to drop and stuff like that. At times, yes. Yeah, it wasn't that much more man-to-man than usual. Yeah, we had some execution problems. I think one of the biggest problems was I just didn't call a good enough game, really. Yeah, I mean, when X went out early last week, we went with Eli, and Cater stayed at nickel. And I think that's the way we'll move going forward. Just that the calls didn't work out. I'm not sure I follow you totally, but no, just the way it turned out. Some of the calls we put us in tough situations that we didn't handle well enough, and usually that doesn't happen. But you got to give Baltimore credit; they're a well-balanced, good offense, and they can do that to you. They're different to some degree. We're really running the ball well right now, and when you are running the ball that well, play action game has opened up. So that's really helping them. They're really talented on offense. They got two really good tight ends. Everybody knows about Diggs. Their slot's a good player. Davis is a good player. Cook's the best back they've had in Buffalo, maybe since Thurman Thomas. And their line's doing a good job, and obviously everybody knows about Josh Allen and his ability. So they're highly ranked in most offensive categories, and when you watch the tape, you can see why. Yeah, they handled it well that day, and I think if we want to do it again, I think they'll handle it well again. Well, obviously you do, knowing what happened now, but I think Mike addressed that earlier after the game or earlier in the week, and I'll just stand on what Mike said. Just improve in all areas, assignment, technique, execution, know-how, just a little bit in all areas. That would help, we'd be able to have a better three-man rotation in there with him, David, and Duke, and it would help for sure. Bake's a good player. We've missed him. I think today's practice will be telling whether he can make it back or not. Yeah, it's unusual for that to happen, as witnessed here locally with our offensive line. And they're good players, too. So when you put continuity with good players, good things happen. And they pull a lot of their linemen. They do a good job scheming their run game, and I think that's attributed to continuity also. The two games I think you're alluding to are last week and our first Buffalo game. Yeah, we didn't play well early, and things snowballed. And it wasn't one area that was letting us down. It was basically all phases, both run and pass. And I think when that happens, you get not back on your heels playing-wise, but it makes you feel that way a little bit. Yeah, they are very similar. Different body types, different running styles, but the same problems for sure. Allen's just a beast of a guy, a physical specimen, like John Elway was in the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. This guy is the new John Elway on steroids. And I don't mean he's taking steroids. He's just bigger, faster, cannon for an arm, tough. He's a dude. Occasionally. I think Eli recently has played better than he did earlier in the season. And, he's a veteran. There's know-how. He knows his limitations. He knows who he's covering. He knows the strength and weaknesses of whatever we're playing, and does a good job adjusting. Yeah, I've done it a couple years in my career a lot, every week. But when you have two corners that you think are pretty good, then you're less likely to do it. No, I don't think it matters schematically that much. Well, a lot of teams will do that. And to me, the biggest question is that shadow guy the fourth rusher or the fifth rusher? And then that, affects what you're doing coverage-wise.